What's up, Rockstars, and welcome to a mega news update. We have everything from beloved classics returning to brand new deals to brand new announcements, big news items coming up, new technology, new things to cover. There's a ton coming up, a ton ending. We're going to cover it all right now. Now, as always, a huge shout out to my patrons and YouTube members. It is through their financial support that this channel is possible. If you appreciate videos I make every single week, just like this one, you can give even $1 a month. There is a link down in the description below. Thank you so very much. Truly, thank you. And before I show you everything that I've spent hours and hours and hours researching, there's a ton to go over. I do want to give a shout out to the sponsor of today's video, this video right here, Into the AM. They are a channel sponsor, actually. This is one of their shirts. It's amazing. I got a compliment today. I went to the eye doctor, needed new contacts, and the lady that was, handling the payment and all that stuff complimented on my shirt. I say that because I get so many compliments on these shirts. They look great. They feel great. They keep the color. They have amazing designs. There's a link down in the description and in the comments below with a 10% off code just for you guys. That's for viewers of this channel. So thank you to Into the AM for supporting this channel for so long. They make a great product and I stand by them 100%. You should check it out. They have a great sale going on right now with a bundle. And again, you can save that 10% using that code. Link down in the description below. All right, now let's get into a lot. Barbaric is wrapping up. Only 5 days left to go at the time of recording. And so, guys, there is less than a week here, okay? Very much last minute things here. I might be able to remind you again before it's over, but I don't know. It depends on how often I do these news videos. But they have actually done quite well for themselves. Over 230,000. And obviously they still have the final 2 days to go too, where it's just going to jump up even more, get even more stretch goals and stuff like that. They're doing daily stretch goals also now, which means that they keep up, getting more and more stuff. So look at this freaking rooster martial artist. Guys, come on. When have you seen that before? I have not seen that before. If you have, let me know where, I suppose. But they have this really cool beta fish kind of looking mount thing too. So you get these weird animal fighters and you put them in these fish mount things. Guys, it's a crazy looking game. I think that's super neat. I really appreciate unique things like that. That's something I see a lot of these things, guys, and something that looks unique, I'm really all about. Nanolith, I still need to do a review for you guys. That will be coming up. I apologize. I was sick for a whole week almost, and it put me behind on a whole bunch of stuff, but I will get to it. It has 14 days still left to go, so still 2 weeks left to go. 165,000, almost 2,000 backers and rising. It looks like they're doing a lot of really cool stretch goals too, which I think is awesome. It talks about its inspiration as kind of like Final Fantasy when it comes to story and stuff like that, but in a cyberpunk world, which I think is just awesome. The standees keep the price down, so it's cheap to go through it, and then of course you still have minis for your characters and stuff like that, which honestly looks pretty cool. So they're unlocking new areas. That everybody, look at this. Everybody gets sleeves for all their cards. I think that's super cool, actually, and I wish more companies would actually do that because it means the storage will support sleeved cards. There you go, problem solved. If you supply your own sleeves, you get to support them. Now, how good are they? I don't know about all that. Some people like little penny sleeves. Some people like super freaking thick double sleeve, triple sleeve junk going on there. Who knows what. But they got new areas, new dice, an arena mode, and more stories, more comics, more side missions and stuff like that. They've been doing quite a lot, which I think is super cool. All right, we're going to keep moving on. Sea of Legends. Oh, by the way, I'm ordering this based off of how much time is left on the campaign. So that's where I'm going with this. Vengeance of the Empire says 15 days to go. This one is kind of an interesting one. So the first one did several thousand people. I think it was 4,000. I believe 4,000 and some change people that backed the first one. 4,700. It's almost 5 1,000 people backed the first one. So it's kind of interesting to see 1.7 thousand back. That's a very big drop. Anytime there's a reprint or anytime there's a direct sequel that has like a returning backers thing, I try to look at the backer count and kind of see where things are with that, right? If it's about the same, or if it's more, or even if it's a healthy chunk of it, I feel it's pretty good. Almost a 2,000 50 days ago. It depends on where it ends up in 15 days, but suffice it to say, I feel that's quite a big drop. If you are a returning backer, maybe it's a good deal for you. If you've been wanting to get into it, well, this is obviously a way to do it, but there doesn't seem to be that huge push that I would have actually assumed there would be. I mean, almost 5,000 backers as the first time is pretty good, but not seeing a whole lot there. I know it had some issues with the app, though I hear it's better now, so I don't know, just kind of interesting to see that. Next up, we have, oh, by the way, there's a link down to everything down in the description below, so feel free to expand that description, and you're going to see a ton of links there. RoboMon, this is fun. If you like Pokemon, you might be interested in this. If you were like me and played RoboMon, the knockoff of Pokemon, you would be very interested in this. It's pretty much Pokemon with robots. So it is a like a narrative game, but you can play a 2-player version as well. 30 plus hours of gameplay. You get like stickers and stuff like that, and you can like go through each area. One of the cool things is that it doesn't require a rule book, and it has a whole bunch of QR codes, and some of those even like make music. So each area has its own music and stuff. Seems really, really cool. You can like upgrade your things, you know, to evolve them and whatnot, which seems super neat as well. Comes with like 300 plus cards and a whole bunch of other stuff, which is, I think, pretty neat. And I think it's like $80, which seems maybe kind of pricey, but honestly, in today's day and age, I think the savings in shipping, because it's not a whole bunch of minis, and savings on the shelf space that takes up so much, is actually kind of nice and almost worthwhile in and of itself. So anyway, feel free to check this out. They're at 121,000, so 16 days left to go. Next up, Nexus Arena Combat System. Not a whole lot to say on this. 16 days to go. Back it if you want it. It's being made. You'll get it like shipped very, very soon. It did very well at Gen Con. It's at 54,000. Again, feel free to check that one out as well. Next up, we have Uluk, which is a Euro game, so keep that in mind, where you're hunting and gathering and cooking and stuff like that. It's kind of interesting. I was looking at this, and I always try to find what makes each one unique, right? Because there's only so many times I can place like a... It's kind of like a dungeon crawl, right? Like, what makes the dungeon crawl unique? What makes the fact that I'm putting this worker here unique in this one? And unique is, I think, a strong word in any of these games, perhaps. A lot of it's a combination of theme and flow of game mechanics. But one cool thing that this does have is this right here. I don't think this is the one that's showing it. So let me see. Yeah, this one right here. So as people get on this, it actually moves those things, and so they're worth different amounts. So it's kind of like an ever-changing board, if you think about it in that sense. It'd be the equivalent of always changing the tile layout of a dungeon and dungeon crawl. So that seems pretty cool. I can dig that. And the theme, obviously, I think it looks cool. So there's that too. But anyway, yeah, 17 days to go. And so far, not quite funded yet. So we'll see if it gets there or not. All right, next up we have Kinfire Chronicles Nightfalls. To be honest, I thought this is a weird one. I thought this was a D&D campaign. Like, no joke, that's what I thought it was. It's not. It's an actual, like, board game you can play. But at first glance, that's what I felt it was, which is kind of weird. Another weird thing. So first of all, it's from the makers of Descent, The Witcher 3, Arcane League of Legends. Notice these are weird. This is like a mix of video games and board games. And yes, it's true. A lot of the video game side came from the graphics of it, right? The art of it, as opposed to the game development itself. But honestly, it seems pretty neat. I watched quite a few of these videos actually, but it's kind of weird because it has like Felicia Day as like the first person here. It has like a Twitch streamer talking about the game, and it's a very weird group of people kind of showing off this game and talking about it, which is kind of interesting. The design of it is kind of interesting as well. There's a lot of colored, like this like green kind of tint you got here, and this kind of purplish, pinkish tint you got here. A lot of the people are like if you look at even the characters, you're interacting with like blue people and green people and purple people and pink people. So graphic wise, I like it, but it's certainly different and unique in that sense for sure. I think it could explain the game a bit better, in my opinion, but it's got all these different maps that you're kind of going through and towns that you're exploring and people you're talking to and making decisions and going through the campaign very quickly as you draw these cards out and put these standees on this kind of book here. And then as you can see, you can expand the abilities that your character has quite a bit. So it's very much an RPG that you're going through, a campaign that you're going through. I just don't think it shows that well on the campaign page. I think it would have raised a lot more if that was more obvious. Like I said, when I first glanced at this, I just automatically assumed it was a 5e D&D campaign kind of thing. Dwarves Legendary Forest, this is another interesting one. It has funded 82 miniatures, so there's a ton of miniatures, mostly repeats. This is by the Vesuvius Media. They do a lot of these dwarves things. This is actually, and it's kind of hard to tell, but they did a Dwarves Spring back when. This is now rebranded as Dwarves Legendary Forest, but it's pretty much a remake of that. So it's kind of an older thing there. It's interesting because it says family weight, which I think is kind of a smart way to put it. So it's a family weight game, pretty much a family game where you're just expanding this and you're putting all your little kind of towers that represent like your keeps there and gaining areas and kind of playing your cards to build your engine essentially is what you're doing. But yeah, it's kind of a fun little game and it's not that bad either. I think it's like $60 for the thing, which for how big it is, I think is fairly appropriate. Though, you know, it gets a little weird for me when it's a family board game and it costs that much. I would have preferred it to be at the 40, but that's only for like returning backers and stuff. So no luck there. The World of Kensei for 5e. This is by the big names here, Riot Minds. So this is actually pretty big in my opinion. It's by the people who originally made Trudvang, the RPG, and it has some amazing art. It's pretty much a Japanese, Chinese Oriental, I guess, because I think it's a little ambiguous, but I'm not sure. Look into things, but it has like Tengu and stuff like that you can do, different subclasses and whatnot. Again, the art looks great. New spells, playable races, 20 plus locations, lore, stuff like that. But dear Lord, the art looks fantastic. What just a beautiful book is. I mean, it looks really, really nice, right? So I think that looks great. I would recommend getting this, if nothing else, just to have it on the shelf. I think it just look freaking pretty. All right, next up we have PowerCore, Call of Cthulhu. 22 days left to go. This is not funded yet. It'll probably relaunch. They have an update saying they're looking for feedback or listening to feedback and whatnot. I think this actually looks like a cool game. I think it's, again, branded very poorly. This is Eldritch. It's not just Cthulhu. It's an Eldritch horror kind of thing. It has like the whole gamut of H.P. Lovecraft's kind of stuff here. And it's a card game where you have these power cores, and the power cores are these little slots here. And what you do, I wonder if it has a GIF or not. I'm hoping it does. Anyway, you can see here, you actually turn them, and as you turn them, you generate the resources. So you'll get, 3 red, and then 2 blue, and then 1 green, and then nothing, and then 3 red. And so you kind of have to do it that way while you're kind of, and that's your power you're generating, and then you're busy doing damage and stuff. And each of the groups it has here, like Cthulhu and Nub and Yeb and Shub-Nugroth and Yog-Sothoth, whatever, all of these freaking guys that you've heard of and pretend that you can pronounce. And they work differently, and talks about them too. So like all of this seems really, really interesting. Actually, it sounds like it plays quite well. The design around it's a little odd. Like the PowerCore here doesn't really scream Cthulhu at all to me, actually. Maybe that's on purpose, I don't know. But it seems like such a cleaner look than everything else, because everything else is very Cthulhu-ish, right? Eldritch horror, very grimy and detailed and stuff. And then you have PowerCore in these like big letters and stuff like that, which seems a little odd. And the branding itself, because it's so dark, it kind of melts together to me. So, like even the game mat here seems distracting. Like it's hard to even tell the cards on top of that. There's not a good separation between the two, in my opinion. So I think it needs a little UI help, maybe even a little UX help. But I think otherwise, the gameplay actually seems pretty neat. Okay, Project Ironside, a $399 extendable board game table. Wow, almost 3 million raised. Very easy to do when stuff is expensive. The $400 is the cheap price. Again, you're buying a table here. I was excited about this and then very much decided against it. Let me explain why it won't work for me. First of all, I want, like, the $399 is kind of the basic, kind of like a more of a coffee table kind of thing. And so then obviously you need to make it bigger to really kind of play stuff. So I feel really if you're any kind of board gamer that's watching this channel, probably, you need 2 of these suckers, right? And so you can get 2 of them and you can combine them. The problem is that when you want to combine them, and that may not be the combined one. Where's the combined one? Where is it? There's one here. Here it is. When you combine it, whether it's an extension like that, or whether it's putting 2 together, which is actually mine, because this is still a 3 foot, it's a long skinny thing now, right? So it's 3 foot by 7 foot. 3 foot is a little cramped anytime you have like player boards plus a map there, right? It gets a little odd. And so you really need it wider, in my opinion. Like, this is very limited in its usefulness, in my opinion, for most board games. So that right there is $150 to do that. Plus the 2 tables you're buying. So it gets expensive quick. On top of that, it is just basic metal, right, with a neoprene mat inside. It's just a metal frame, very basic. And one thing you'll notice, you see these little white notches here. So because it's metal and it's kind of manufactured more of a mass manufacturing to keep the price down, of course, they just drill holes all over it, right, to be able to do attachments. But if you don't get those attachments, if you don't attach a whole bunch of things to it, you're left with a whole bunch of holes. And so so you can see it's kind of like building some, from IKEA or something like that. And so to fill those holes, you get these little either white or black marks that I just don't like the look of them. Otherwise, I think it looks pretty good. I like that it's fairly shallow. I wouldn't even need a cover on it. I actually don't need that at all. So anyway, it's like it's almost there, but not quite for me. I don't really like the gaps all over it. This is cool though. I do like the playmat thing. I might look into just getting that. One of the nice things is that they're Velcro, so they're expandable. So it can be a really skinny one or a really fat one. In other words, it's rolled up, a lot or something like that, and it can still support that. That's actually really good instead of just a something that's, one size fits some, right? So you can kind of customize it, and you get little straps on the side to hold them sideways. That's pretty cool too. So anyway, yeah, I mean, it's doing really well, and I'm glad a lot of people are liking it, and it's making it fairly affordable for a piece of furniture to be able to work. That being said, I don't know about shipping. Metal's heavy. We'll see. It's cheaper than a big table, that's for sure. And again, it's not thousands of dollars, but at the same time, there's enough nitpicks for me to where if I'm going to spend the money, I think I want it nice. All right, this is a cool upcoming one, Biomorph. Biomorph looks very, very interesting. Now, this hasn't been updated since July, and I can't really find any other information on it, though you can check the Discord. I'll link down to this below, but it looks really pretty. Multiple co-op strategies for 1 to 4 player, heavy customizable biomorphs where you upgrade operators and weapons and abilities and stuff like that, a whole bunch of different aliens and stuff. It just looks really cool. The UI needs some help, of course, but the art and the idea, I think, looks pretty darn neat. There's some more of them there, and then you can kind of see the world looking there. It looks kind of interesting. So don't know too much about it. Feel free to check it out. It is available on Screen Top, which is an alternative to Tabletop Simulator, apparently. Feel free to check that out. Okay, more stuff is coming up. I'm going in order of how many people it has following now, starting at the lowest, going to the highest. So we have the Curse, so that one is just, you know, God knows. This one, the Curse of Candelabria, this is by Lunar Studio. They did Sheol. It's delivering now. It's very, very pretty game. This looks pretty as well. 39 followers. It says, choose your faction of living candles. Conquer Candelabria with your wandering castles. A Euro game from the creators of Sheol. So it's kind of like this map movement kind of area control game from what I can tell. But you have these candle things, and that's a very big thing where it like burns down, right? So there's kind of that time mechanic there. Don't know how else that plays. We don't know too much about it, but definitely seems unique, that's for sure. Survival of the Fattest. Guys, look, the name alone would make my kids play this game. You play as a whole bunch of like little like critters, like, you know, squirrels and stuff, and bears trying to like get really fat for the winter. What's not to love about that? That sounds fantastic to me. So I don't know exactly how it plays. It says action selection, hand management, and unique abilities, but it seems awful silly to me. Kingdoms of Akandia, the Seventh Realm. This is a relaunch. You might recall this one here. Now, one thing they've done is they've gone back and updated the UI. They're updating the board. This used to be the game box. It now looks like this, which is certainly an improvement. I still think it'll struggle a little bit. It's still just indie enough to where I feel it'll struggle, but it has almost 600 followers going in, so that doesn't mean it won't fun. That doesn't mean it won't be made. That doesn't mean it won't be great. It just means I don't think it's going to be a big explosion of a game here. RONE Invasion. This one seems interesting. 828 back followers, but there's a little bit of a cheating here because there are 1,648 on the backer kit page. This is in like the RONE universe, which is like this post-apocalyptic thing. It's typically card games. This one introduces dice. And in fact, look, they even have the dice here, like in the art. It has a very cheesy thing saying, screw the dice before it can screw you, which is, I get it. It's too cheesy for my taste, but you actually have pips. Now, this looks bad to me, in my opinion. Anytime you have to have a screwdriver to play a game, that seems weird. However, these are also like a mana resource. Like you're laying these on cards and stuff like that, and eventually you can put them in the dice. That seems a bit more interesting and a bit more usable, and so the color matters there, obviously, right? But yeah, definitely interesting for sure. There's a solo mode or a co-op mode. There's a competitive mode. There's a lot here. All right, next up we have Patriot. Honestly, I don't know a lot about this. I went and searched for it. I saw the guy's Twitter and a few other things, but there isn't a whole lot of information here that I could find. However, it does have a few minis that, you know, the renders aren't great on it. I don't know how that really works, but 5 threats, 5 days to die, and it says it's a social deception and strategy game, which does sound kind of interesting. I like the, not social deduction, but social deception. And then it's called Patriot. So combining this together sounds kind of interesting, actually. A lot of hidden motives, I imagine. Forsaken. This is by Game Trace. This is kind of their big game that they're coming out with. The one thing I'll say about this, I know a lot of other people have already made comments on this and that probably actually have experience with the game. I do not. Is that it is going to be a table hog. It seems to me that it's very much Game Trace trying to advertise what they can make, and then making a game kind of around that. What do I mean by that? Well, let's take a look at this. Now, this is kind of the render of it, but when it seems to me that, first of all, it has a little bit of everything, right? So it has, you know, a big kind of equipment thing here, and then it has like a round map here, and the round stuff here, and then a dice tower kind of thing going on here, and like there's a lot going on. But the fact that there are not even one, but 3 different round maps that obviously don't fit together because they're round, right? It's inherently kind of inefficient on a square table. And then, you know, you have these kind of like half round things that, you know, kind of fit on the side, and then the square cards. It's very much a whole bunch of separate pieces. So I imagine setup's going to take a while, and to me, I don't like it. I don't like having 20 different things I have to set up for the game because there's this round map thing with this round extension thing here, and then this round thing here, and then this one here, and then this one here, and then this one here, and then this one. It's too much for my taste. And this makes it look smaller. The box looks smaller. These look smaller. Here's an actual look at it. Look how big those player trays are. This is gonna explode your table, guys. Here's the 3 maps things there, but I mean, these are big. So anyway, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. And I don't know about the game at all. And there's this whole bunch of cards and colored cubes on top of that, on top of all that Game Tray stuff. But definitely advertising the Game Tray brand there, and what they can do with their multi-layered round boards and whatnot. Anyway, Redwood. This is kind of neat. Okay, this is by Sit Down. It's essentially you have to take pictures of animals without spooking them. Okay, now that sounds dumb. I think Dicebreaker said it best. X-Wing for photography nerds. Look at this. So you're kind of moving around, right? And you have this kind of big board here, this big round board. Again, these round boards, I swear. I mean, anyway, yeah. So you're looking at some cards upside down, no matter where you sit. So good luck with that. You have like these pucks, right, that you're moving around in these little notches that it looks like you can go. But then you'll notice, like, look at this. This is X-Wing, right? So you have these like arc movements and stuff like this that you're trying to get, and then you take the picture, which is like your field of view thing, and you're trying to get, you know, like interesting tidbits along with the animal and get the best shot and stuff like that. It seems actually kind of neat. I actually kind of dig it. I think that's pretty crafty. I'll give it to them. So that is Redwood. 4,000 plus people ready to take pictures of animals, all with, and again, it's got the minis and everything. So right now it's pucks. I imagine originally, eventually it's going to be these people, right, that you're taking pictures of everything. But I don't know, it seems neat. I actually kind of dig that one. Okay, let's see. Next up, Rivet Wars Reloaded. This is by Steam Forged Games, so SFG's making this. CMON made this originally a long time ago. So what's new? What's changed? What's different? Actually, a fair number of things. So the art has been updated a little bit. There's a new faction. They've updated a few things where now the maps can dynamically be laid down. So you start on one and then you're progressing. Guys, it looks like Advanced Wars is what it looks like, right? And it kind of plays like that too. One of the neat things you can do in the game is you can upgrade your units during the battle. So they might start out as just a tank, but then eventually it has, you know, anti-troop stuff or, you know, whatever you might have. And because of the rivets and stuff like that, they've actually done this, where they made these like commanders that you can plug into, so you can hop them onto your units as you're playing the game. Honestly, sounds pretty cool. So there's, I actually saw a prototype of this at Gen Con, and it looked very, very nice. And of course, SFG's designing them and updating the minis to look better and stuff like that. Again, this is old CMON, so they're definitely being kind of revitalized. And honestly, I think it looks pretty neat. September 6th is when they come out, so very, very soon. So we'll see kind of what that looks like. All right, next up, Merchant's Cove. 4,547 people signed up for this one. Mastercraft. This reminds me of something like Mario Party or something like that, because it just seems like there's so much stuff going on. It's like, oh, you can play this game. Like, it seems like it's a whole bunch of games in one, right? So you have this one, the detective, Hemlock Trolls. To pinpoint your suspect, you must cleverly place, move, and overlap your clear plastic cubes. So you're doing this kind of thing here. Or the mushroom farmer, where you have these little insects that are going to get mushrooms and do the, like, it all just seems like all these different mechanics, right? That you get in a lot of these Euro games, but they're almost like not even related, which is kind of, I think, kind of fun. Or the treasure diver, where you're diving for treasure. Or the pastry chef, where you're trying to make these, you know, it's like a chef challenge kind of thing. And then of course the main board in the middle with everything that literally kind of looks like it almost brings it all together. Looks like a lot of fun. I know a lot of people love this game. You get a free thief miniature, super important to get that, of course. Of course. And that's coming soon to Kickstarter. But looks like there's a lot of fun to be had there. KeyForge coming out with a new set of cards. I've announced this several times. 7,600 of you are ready for that on GameFound. That'll be coming out soon. We're going to keep moving on. There's a lot to go over. Tainted Grail, King of Ruin. 33,000 people signed up for this. Guys, this is going to be huge. You guys know that. This is not... I don't think there's been an update since they showed this guy. So nothing new here. Just as an FYI, that's coming out here real soon. This is fun. Now, these are now ones that I have no numbers on, but I think they're going to be big. Homeworld Fleet Command by Modifius. Yeah, that's going to be big. If you played RTSs, or if you played you know, space games back in the day on your PC, you know about Homeworld. That is for sure. Coming to crowdfunding in November 22. Or 2022, so like in November. Homeworld Fleet Command puts would-be admirals, blah, 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 okay, whatever. 1 to 4 player, galactic battles featuring 101 plastic models of fighter squadrons, corvettes, frigates, destroyers, and fleet-busting capital ships, including the mothership, which is, of course, required. That's pretty much needed. Show some of the ships here that you're going to do. So it's going to 101, so you're going to have, like, this massive battle thing. But it gets bigger than that. So first of all, it's a 10-part campaign that'll take players from their first fighter skirmish to, like, giant battles. You'll actually learn the game as you play it. So this is not the second one I'm showing where they're kind of... I'm sure they'll have a rule book, but you can learn it while playing it, which is nice. 101 plastic ships, already talked about that. And then solo rules, so you can actually play against an AI, and multiple copies of the game can be combined to create an even bigger thing. And they're also going to have an expansion that adds even more, over 100 more ships to your fleet with the expansion. Yeah, so that's a thing that's coming out. That came out of the blue for me. That's going to be huge. Axon Protocol, that's going to be coming out in October. That finally has a date there. That's been teased on my channel for, like, I feel like at least a year. Dark Souls, the board game. 2 new standalone expansions with updated rules. This is going to be super cool. Like, super cool. So, in this one, you get the Tomb of Giants and Painted World. Both are fully backwards compatible, so they work with any... If you have Dark Souls, you can get these. They will work, but they are standalone with new rules, which is super awesome. So they've updated actually quite a bit of things, which I think is really, really neat. That being said, they're not showing those 2 bits. So let's take a look at that. Look at that. I'll at least be getting this one. I think the minis will be fun. I really like this guy. I know my wife would be interested, and I'm interested to see the new rule set, see how it plays, and see what these standalone expansions kind of look like. And then, of course, the other one has one of my favorite enemies, and least favorite when fighting them, the skeletons and wheels, because why the heck not? All right, next up we have Games talking about some stuff coming up. I've talked about Stonesaga before. As you can see, it is very early in playtesting and currently in development. But that is done by, and I know this is kind of hard to see, so it's done by Max Brooks, who did Star Wars X-Wing 2nd Edition and Legend of the Five Rings RPG, and Luke Eddy, who did Star Wars Legion. So some big names there. And then there's actually going to be a Star of Akarios 2nd Edition that they're developing right now, and then some kind of Project Harmony. I don't know what that is, but definitely a lot coming in the pipeline from Games, so that's exciting. Okay, some Star Wars, no, some Warhammer 40k Kill Team stuff actually. What's big about this Kill Team is it's returning to kind of a Space Hulk theme. So you can kind of see it's, you know, deep corridors where these kind of breacher units are going against the Kroot guys from Tau, essentially. And again, it's going to be a whole lot of like inner passageways and stuff like that, which seems super cool. The terrain itself looks really neat. So if you have fond memories of Space Hulk and stuff like that, this might actually be a good time to get into Kill Team. That'll be coming out here soon. Darkest Dungeon. It's shipped. Look at that. Oh my gosh. They actually shipped it. Well, that's good. I'm glad they finally did. Dwarven Forge, they're increasing prices. I'll let you read this, but starting September 1st, so like now, their prices are going up. The first broad-based price increase in 8 years. So definitely warranted. Then they do some amazing work, but it's already expensive, so it's even more expensive now. This is a fun one. The Settlers of Catan will become a holographic AR board game in early 2023. Sort of, kind of. So let's explain this. First of all, trust me when I say this is as cool as they can make those glasses look. We'll get a better look at that soon. Essentially, this Tilt 5 AR company made a deal with Asmodee that now they'll have Catan on there that has kind of this board controls what you can see. It says get your own perspective. That's because it's the same technology we had back when, where it has like fluctuating, lenses or whatever, and so you can see one versus another, and that's how you can kind of do that It's all based off this board. This board's kind of a plain gray board. You put on these glasses and you can see the digital stuff and kind of move stuff around. It's expensive though. $359 for one pair of glasses in the wand, $659 for two, $959 for a 3-pack. And it requires a PC, a Windows PC to actually run it. And so everybody actually has wires that they're kind of conveniently kind of hiding behind. So that's fun. If you look at the actual Kickstarter that launched this, this was after the person that first did this, their first company failed. They then launched Tilt 5 with the Kickstarter, and that's been succeeding, and now they struck a deal with Asmodee. We'll see where this goes. I don't know. 1.7 million. Apparently they have been delivering this stuff, so that's good. The glasses look really dumb. I don't know how many people want to spend $1,000 on a setup to play Catan via AR, but I guess there's probably somebody there, plus the PC to handle it, of course. You can kind of see the wire, by the way, right there. Again, they tend to hide it pretty darn well, so you won't even see it on them. But you're kind of wired in as you go about doing this. And again, the glasses do look super duper cool for sure. So anyway, it's a thing. I mean, it's cool. It's certainly cool. I would mess around with somebody else's copy of it. Probably not with Catan. I don't know. They do a lot of D&D stuff too. But yeah, I mean, it's where we're still trying to do it, right? We're still trying to get it to where essentially you buy a plain gray board. This right here, a plain gray board, a piece of glasses and a wand, and then you can just buy all the digital games you want off of that. Is kind of the idea. That's the hope, I believe. So you can see some of the other stuff that it looks like they have going on there. But anyway, yeah, more technology and board games, or they're trying to see how they can make that work. I don't think this is it. I mean, again, it's one of those things where it raised 1.7 million, but it's because it costs like $1,000 to get a 3-pack of this stuff. So this is kind of it's just like the table game, which I won't be able to find easily. But you know, when your base price is like $400, I mean, yeah, you only need so many people before you've broken $1 million, right? So you can get a big amount of money based off of just something super expensive, or by a lot of people doing it. And there was how many people were there? 3,345 backed. I don't know how many were $1 versus not, or how many people came in afterwards. But yeah, there's a couple thousand people out there that might be interested in this. And that's the other problem too, is you can't just go to the store and get this. You have to have the whole setup to even support it. So that is your market pool right now, is 3,400 people. If every single person that got it then bought your stuff, that's how many you would sell, which seems quite limiting. So yeah, we'll see where it goes. Of course, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And guys, that is it. That was a lot. There was a lot more to go over than I thought. But hey, the news never stops going, even if I stop making videos. So had to catch up, had to get you guys all caught up on everything there. If you appreciate, again, all of the work I put into compiling all this together, there is, of course, that like button, if nothing else, or maybe even $1 a month via Patreon or YouTube membership. I'd be very, very grateful. If nothing else, get yourself a cool shirt on your way out. And if there's something I missed, or you have a thought on any of this, let me know in the comments below. All right, take care, guys.